Welcome everyone, 13th, unlucky for some, of the 7th, 2025. We're back with another weekly instalment of the Kickback Show with Pom. Always, I have to have a guest though, because as good as I am, I can't do this on my own. And I've brought in Big MJ from Coach's Panel. We've got a super coach expert to test himself against the rest of the content creators. All of the super coach experts have failed miserably. So I am excited about this one because I've also got, we're probably the granddads of YouTube, aren't we, mate?
Yeah, look, probably the moment you say I've got kids, everyone's like, oh no. And I got teenage kids, man. They're all in high school. So I am well and truly, we are of the Muppets territory. We are the old blokes in the very top balcony, just shouting at everybody to shut up. That is our role right now in the fantasy football and the YouTube scope for sure, man.
Mate, I'm with you. And hello to everyone, Shiny Blue, Lucinda, Mitch, Sean. I haven't done a Nick Watson. I did think about shaving one of my armpits like Nick Watson. I haven't got round to it yet. Kate and Lang here in chat. Welcome. Well, I mean, obviously, before we start, we're excited about doing the power rankings with you because I've got myself a bona fide Adelaide fan here, and you guys flying high, aren't you, at the minute?
They're doing all right at the moment, haven't they? They've taken their time with the list build. They've got the right mix in most areas. They're still, to me, they're kind of one piece short. But it does feel like it's the kind of year that if you can get on a stretch for 3, 4, 5 weeks, it don't matter. So, yeah, up and about Crows fan, up and about super coacher, mate. So, no, it's good to spend some time with you on a Sunday night.
Hey, mate. Well, I mean, we're looking forward to this. I mean, it's good. I mean, you talk about list builds. A few people in chat are Carlton fans. We know all about list builds. We know about waiting. It's a little bit sickening that it's taken you guys about 4 years to build this list and taking us about 40.
As quickly as the rebuild felt like it came for Carlton, this last one is as quickly as it's disappeared. Let's not crack open scabs too soon, but that is the fastest and quickest rebuild and debuild I've seen in the modern era, unfortunately. It is not fun.
You know, a good mate of mine actually found a post. He's a Hawthorn fan, and it was about 4 years ago when Hawthorn had the plan to kill the list. Yeah. And he put a post up saying, end of an era, here's to me hating footy again. And like he posted it in our group chat going, it's quick, innit, how it turns around. 4 years ago, I was thinking about giving up watching the sport. And I'm like, I actually hate you because you've won flags, rebuilt, won flags, rebuilt, and are on the precipice of challenging, and we're still in our first rebuild. like, do you know what I mean? It's just not fair.
It's not fair. No, it's not fair. Then if you're a Geelong or Sydney, then that's full not fair territories, isn't it? Where it's like, oh, we have 1 year where we're not competitive, and then we'll make 6 grand finals in a decade and probably win 1 or 2. Yeah, it's not fair, mate.
Mate, stupid spot. Well, what we do here, this is quite fun, and chat will help us through it. We just go through the week's fixtures, briefly talk about what we learn about each side. The rule is we can only move them up and down as we talk about them, as we talk about the game, and wherever they fall after that is dependent on us moving other teams. So we can't put Gold Coast second and then try and manipulate them down. Don't worry, Sean, that was me, mate. I was playing before this. I was playing Fortnite. So I totally forgot that I do have professional equipment, not rubbish equipment. So thank you for the warning. But we'll start with, I can't wait to talk about this, Carlton, Brisbane. Brisbane won quite comfortably. Carlton, the problems continue. Brisbane, very impressive, aren't they? Because I know they didn't beat much, I have to admit, but I think we've got to start to take notice. They're starting to look like the reigning flag premiers, aren't they?
They don't really lack for too much. We talk about 12 months ago, this was a team that was on its knees, but found a way to win in critical junction moments. And yet here they are, a team that aren't needing to be that just yet and are one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the AFL and top 3 based on the power rankings at the moment before we look to make some moves. So the fact is we're looking at this team going, oh, but they don't have this, they don't have this, they don't have this. And they're barely going politely. And yet they're still top 4 on the ladder and have a fixture run home that I'd be shocked if they fell away from not only top 4, but probably a home qualifying final, which is wild to me. So they are flying to be ladder-wise where they are, but form-wise, just winning ugly. And that's all you need to do sometimes at this point of the year.
And my Blues, I checked the ladder just before we came on, and we might be, I'm going to go on record here, the worst 12th side in the history of 12 side. Like, I don't know how we're 12th. Like, I looked at it, and I think Carlton being 12th at the minute is the greatest argument for a proper system for fixturing, like a proper fixture list where first plays XYZ twice, whatever ladder position, actually having it set in stone, because I do feel the Blues are probably beneficial of the fact that we got a lot of sides who were bad in good moments as well.
Yeah, the only reason you're 12th is there are more worse teams than you right now. And like I was looking, trying to think, and I'm going, oh, how far do I want to move Carlton down the power rankings? And I'm like going, you could build a case you need to move them up, because like North Melbourne, as good as they are showing promise, they're finding ways to fall out of games that they really should be winning. Port Adelaide are getting out of jail against teams that they should be putting away. And St Kilda, okay, they ran with Sydney for a reasonable stretch of the game, but like you could build a case that Carlton go up, not because they've gotten any better, but because other teams are underperforming even more so than what Carlton are, which is a wild statement. I thought I'd never make at this point in time of the year, Pommy.
Yeah, trust me, I have checked all the data. I never thought I'd be this. I did make a statement in my preseason predictions to cover Carlton, and I said I had them 6th, but I said I could see them top 4 if everything goes right. I could see them 12th. I was like, I'm not confident, so I am quite happy the Blues are staying 12th, because if they go under, I thought I was covering my arse. I didn't realise I had to cover my ass more. But I think the big question here is, I don't think at this stage I can put Carlton down, because I do think they're better than Essendon. My big question here is, Brisbane have got a rise. Are they better than Collingwood? Is that win impressive enough for Brisbane to leap pies until we talk about the pies? Because the way I look at it, their only 2 losses came against your mob in the last 5, who let's be honest, they've been flying your mob, and it was at the AO, and it was only by a goal. They lost to GWS, but since then, smashed the Cats by 40 at GMHBA and are averaging a 45-point win.
I'm happy to put them at number 1 right now, because I know that'll be the next game we get to, and Collingwood might just move back again. But to me, if you go, who are the form team or teams of the competition? If Brisbane are not joint first in that conversation, yes, that they have to be. They won convincingly. They did something that the other 2 teams ahead of them haven't, and their form, as you mentioned, Pommy, has been outstanding. And politely, you could probably count in those 5 games, maybe 1, that they actually looked imposing and threatening to a top 8 team. And so if they're just banking wins and barely getting by, you just know this team come August is going to cook. And so, yeah, happy to put them at 1. And then when we get to the next game, we can look to move them down again if we need to.
Well, I mean, let's do that. I mean, this was like, I went back and watched this. I was watching Wrexham. I was at the Wrexham game, so I had to watch this back. I watched the 4th quarter in the pub. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Because this felt like one of them games where I didn't hate the Pies. And I didn't fall in love with Gold Coast because Gold Coast looked a bit shaky towards the end. Pies did what they did, but credit where credit is due. Gold Coast did what 90% of the teams can't do and did finish off the Magpies.
I can't recall a time I was sitting with I got a couple of teenagers, and both of them, I didn't inflict the Adelaide wounds on them in the 2010s. I didn't want to be that bad of a parent. I probably should have done it now that I think of it. But I was sitting with them going, Collingwood are going to come. They're just going to come. It's just going to happen. Even in the start of the third quarter, it's just going to happen. And he's like, Dad, you're over your 40. You're now losing your mind. What are you doing? And then here they come. And then in those last few minutes, Suns able to hold on. And I think that's a good sign for Gold Coast fans. I think what's a scary sign is Collingwood were without some critical structural pieces in Myercheck and Lipinski, and I have not seen them play worse for a half of football. They were deplorable, and in basically a quarter and a half, they catch Gold Coast, albeit without a kick. And so to me, I find it really hard to not say Collingwood in a underperforming output for something that I haven't seen, with some key structural pieces missing, only go down by what, a handful of points? Oh, it's scary.
In a place that's hard as well. Like, it's got to be said,
Correct.
Teams have struggled for some reason against Gold Coast in Gold Coast, and better teams have failed. Like, I'm with you lot. Full caveat. I'm a Carlton man. Do I want Collingwood number one? Do I? But credit where credit's due.
Yeah,
it was 50% of the first team, and they nearly did it, didn't they? They nearly did it.
Yeah, I just, again, like, if power rankings are, who do you genuinely think right now is the team you don't want to face and that would be the premiership contender? All things being equal, to me, it's Collingwood. They have everything, and they, in this terrible game, terrible output, terrible conditions for them, all the variables stacked up against them, and they only decide to turn up 10 minutes into the third quarter without key personnel, and they still just miss. Oh, imagine what happens when they decide to turn up for a half or 3 quarters or 3.5 quarters. Like, DeGoey's still got to come back. Like, we forget how vital this guy is as a clearance winner and how damaging he is inside forward 50. And we've barely seen him at all this year, let alone a Myercheck and Lipinski who are getting rested. I don't want to play any of the top two, but if I had to play one of them, I'd feel slightly worse playing Collingwood.
You know what? Like, in all fairness, I hate to do it, but I feel like we've got to be fair to the game. Chat,
let's do it then.
I know some of you are Carlton fans. So am I. I feel like Brisbane beating up on 15th Carlton in this power rankings ain't as impressive as an away from home resting sides and still finding a way to just lose, like when you could have won. But I'm willing to say, do you think we can move Gold Coast? Do you think Gold Coast, for now, need to move to maybe just behind the Crows? Because that is an impressive win.
Well, yeah, it is. And we're going to learn a lot about the Suns, aren't we, over the next couple of weeks, where I think they've got like 3 really difficult games to come, including Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. They've still got another Q clash to come in the next month. We will know, is this Gold Coast Suns team the Nepo babies of the AFL, or if they are genuinely contending for the top 4, let alone a chance to win a final, which has to be the bare minimum of this team this year. It just has to be. So yeah, I'm happy to move Gold Coast up.
You say, I think chat agree with us. Like, you know what? Very mature chat as well. I know it hurts me too, but I actually think, as a Carlton fan, there's no one I'd rather see number 1 as motivation than them, because
that's true.
It hurts when you're not there, but it hurts even more when they're there. So if there's ever a motivation to stop being rubbish, there it is. There it is. I will do my bit. And then we get to talk about your mob. We will live for this game. And you know what? I've said this last week. I'll say it again. I think the most improved side in season from round 1 to now is Adelaide. I think the structural changes they've made to be a bit more defensively rigid, but they can still kick goals out of anything. No Rochelle as well. They negated that incredibly as well. Rankine spending a bit more time forward of the ball didn't seem to affect them. And the Dogs, I felt like it showed me what I worry about with the Dogs. I just don't think they've got a backline capable of holding on against a blustering side. And I think that Crows win away from home, I think you've got to take notice now. The big question was they don't beat any of the top 8. They've seeming to find a way now, aren't they, the Crows?
Look, they get Brisbane a couple of weeks ago. It's a few months now back, but they get Gold Coast Suns almost in a tight one. I think the average losing mark for the Crows this year is under 2 goals. So there's been at no point in the season just yet, knock on wood, that they've been out of contention. And yeah, coming to Melbourne has always been that Achilles heel for the Crows over the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So they're still getting beaten by good teams in the midfield, and it's their ability to get it out of congested moments into that transition game in great high speed and then capitalize on their quality of forwards that is ultimately the thing that's winning their games. And then just an unheralded defense that are just so miserly. And, you know, Jordan Butts is going to come out of this side for the next couple of weeks. I would say their best key defender, Nick Murray's coming straight back in, who just couldn't be dethroned with how good Butts was performing. So I'm with you. I think there is real a chance as anybody on their day to beat anyone. I don't want to move them up higher because I like the underdog card. But if you look at what Adelaide's done over the last month versus what Geelong has done over the last month, Adelaide keep chipping away and they keep beating good teams in good places and beating up on teams that they should be beating up on and not, politely speaking, doing what a Port Adelaide have done just in the game we've just watched, which is, man, you should have put this team away early. You just didn't. I think the Crows have to move up, and Geelong are just as likely to get back there like Collingwood, but I think the Crows have got to go up.
Mate, I'm with you. I do want to say I have been a big advocate this year when I said, a couple of years ago, I said I don't believe Vic bias exists. I was naive. And as I've started doing general content, I have noticed massively there is a Vic bias. And I said a couple of weeks ago, it was about 6 weeks ago, I love Darcy, but I think Thilthorpe is that level. We just don't want to admit it. And I think you saw in this game, yes, Sam Darcy's probably sexier to watch, but Thilthorpe is ruthlessly efficient. Like, I think if you were a list manager and you were in the now, it would be a hard decision. Like, you're choosing between prime Marilyn Monroe and Bridget Bardot here. You're splitting hairs. You're a legend either way.
Yeah, there's no bad picks. Look, you could probably throw a Dan Curtin and a Josh Worrell into that conversation too, of guys that if they were sitting in certain parts of the country, there's probably a little bit more media love and narrative there. But I think it's hard not to put the Crows up. Again, you sit in South Australia and there is a clear South Australian bias. Like, I'm born in New South Wales, live in Victoria, go for a South Australian team. So I am as confused as a termite in a yo-yo when it comes to which part of Australia I should be supporting. But yeah, my goodness me, they keep answering the call that comes every single week. I want to play the underdog card, Pommy, but after that performance, I don't know if you can.
Yeah, I think the third, and I think Dogs, I don't think the Dogs did any shame. I think, like, in my opinion, I think the winner is coming from that top 4. So I think that top 4 is it. And I would say the Doggies and the Suns, it's hair splitting, isn't it? It's hair splitting. If they played tomorrow for for an eliminator, I think that would come down to which ground they're playing at.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah, they're so evenly matched. So evenly matched. Yeah, it's a good shout.
It's going to be fascinating. And you know what? Up the Crows. Do you know what I mean? The one bit of enjoyment I've got left in my life. He's riding the Crows. That's all I've got left. But we go in to a team that I'm going to have to apologise for again. GWS. I've called them frauds all year. You know what? They weren't very fraudulent this week. And they, at times, I felt like the Cats were fraudulent. And the scary thing, and I'll say this again, I'm going to back myself up here. Back myself up. This game worried me about Geelong because Geelong played this on GWS's terms. And I'm still got the question marks about GWS. If you let them do that, they're going to put on 110. You're going to have it hard. But I didn't understand the Cats in this. I thought the Cats managed this game shockingly. And if you let the GWS Giants do that, they're going to roll every team in this league. But I'd like to think 6 of the sides are intelligent enough not to do this.
Yeah, and also you think about Geelong, like if I look at the year with a more of a macro than a micro just this round, what really did Geelong have to gain by giving away too much against a team that are likely to be in the conversation of finals in the realms that they're in? So what do you have to gain by going, oh, you know what, we're going to show a different thing? No, we're going to. So I think playing the more conservative game, we know that Scott has done that in the coaching realm for a long year now, which is going, yeah, the 4 points here is going to help, but showing our cards or knowing we believe we can knock out these elements of the game, because you're right. If you let Callahan, Green, Whitfield, Ash, Toby Green, like you let Cadman, you let these young stars or emergent stars or bean star players just dominate, there's just nothing for Geelong to gain here. So I think we've learnt a lot about the Giants, that if you give them their game, they'll put anyone to the sword. And I've been burnt way too many times over the last sort of decade plus with Geelong to go, that's it. They're heading downwards. And it's like, no, it's just this 1 week in time. I think they've got enough trust in the bank with me to go, you know what? I'll wait a week before I start hitting the panic stations. But yeah, my goodness me, when the Giants get the game going, they beat anyone. I think we got to move the Giants up, because the Cats, I don't know. You can't put the Doggies up. You can't put the Hawks up. The Giants aren't the 4th best team in it, and the Suns aren't the 4th best team in it. So it like somehow, yeah,
it hurts me. Yeah. Honestly, like in the intricate core to move them in that first row.
I know, but they deserve it. The last month has been good.
They deserve it. You know what? Shout out to my old boss. I nearly became a Geelong fan because of him. Good mate of mine, good mate. And he texted me after the game saying 2 things, Pommy. Did that to shut you up calling them frauds. And 2, we know we do it when it counts. And that arrogance really annoys me, that he's taking this loss as, we'll beat them when it matters, though, man. And it hurts me. But you know what? There it is. GWS is 6th. I can't move Geelong, though. I'm with you. Geelong just too good. Like, you know, I agree with my mate. In a final, they ain't playing like that. And it scares me a little bit. Mitch, you've got them on fraud. Hey, Mitch, you got to be careful with this fraud watch.
Don't, Mitch. We're trying a card here, Mitch. Don't help us, mate. We're playing a bit. Stop it. We don't. Mate, this is jinxing territories, Mitch. Just settle down.
Mitch, I've seen this game bite you in the arse a lot. I do it a lot.
Do it, Mitch.
That can backfire when we're doing the grand final watch along and GWS win it, mate. I'll tell you. And people come for you and me, Mitch. We're in the fire together. We'll be in it togetger. I'm with you, Sean. Look, GWS still on fraud watch. Look,
I 100%.
I'll fight that battle till I die. Do you know what I mean? We're fighting it till we die. But then we come to probably the shock. Well, is it the shock of the round? At the start of the year, I made a bold call when people, and I always feel like round one was okay because I said I can see Richmond winning 4 to 6 games. And I think this madness of 0 games is Mickey Mouse. And you know what? I am loving Richmond because I think they go about it the right way. Rebuilding, play the style of football you want to play in 4 years, copy your lessons when it goes wrong. And for Essendon, this was scary because tell you what worries me about Essendon is it's the senior players that are shit. It's not the kids. It's the senior players that are really letting them down. And when you think about it, I think Richmond's kids were more talented and the senior players were a lot better, which asks a lot of questions. I know Essendon have got a lot of injuries and they've got like 12 of their best 22 out. But that worried me just how the stronger players looked average to some of them kids. And I feel for Essendon, I really do. I don't want to see people in that situation, but this is going from bad to worse.
In a general sense, that may have been the worst game of football I've watched this year. Like the skill level was deplorable. And I'm not talking about kids, because to me, if you're under 10 games of AFL, like it's hall pass territories. It's like you're learning the game, you're picking up. By the way, Taj Houghton is going to be a freak when you get that kid. Some key forwards that they can build around, which they've got. You get some quality of service through the midfield, which they're building around with guys like Banks. They're going to be fine. But the thing that makes this Richmond rebuild look much better than others have recently is the old hands are keeping up to their part of the deal here. They're not leaving it to the kids to be the superheroes. That midfield core, they are not rebuilding. It's Nankervis, it's Hopper, it's Prestia, it's Taranto. That is an experienced midfield core. You look in the back line with the likes of Vloston playing core fundamental roles through there. They're not exactly young in certain areas, but what is happening is the old hands are holding on. They're not doing as what you've mentioned Essendon doing, being arguably the worst performers on the field, Zach Merritt aside. And now the kids are able to shine and they look even brighter than what they probably are. And they're bright. Don't Richmond fans come for me. They are bright and they are strong, but they're looking stronger and brighter to hold up to the level because they're being protected in parts of the field that Essendon's guys are not. And I think we might have contextual injuries, and Nick Martin injury is shocking and horrible and all these things. But contextually, I think Richmond have to go up and Essendon have to go down. Like Essendon were so poor in this game, and it was senior players making terrible decisions where their first instinct is to switch the transition play to look to the player that is open behind rather than any kind of focus. That's a confidence thing in your ability, a confidence thing in your teammate to be in the right position. And there's a coaching and player breakdown somewhere, because you don't tell me Brad Scott's going, guys, at any point in time, kick it backwards. That's not the coaching element. There's clearly some breakdowns between confidence, ability, and the absorption of that information. But my gosh, Essendon just, it looks gross. It's the worst place to be in a rebuild, isn't it? Where you've got your high-end talent aren't coming through. Your old hands aren't doing anything much bar one workhorse player. It's just gross. There's no bright shoots. And then probably the one bright shoot you had in the Nick Martin lands on a bit of turf, and we won't see him not only for the rest of this year, but I don't think they'll play him much next year. Yeah, earlier. So, yeah, Palmer, like that's probably the team I'd least want to be on the bandwagon of at the moment in terms of a list build and where they're at. It's arguably the hardest spot to be. Injuries included.
Yeah, you know what as well? Shout out Lunchtime Podcast. He is an Essendon man. Shout out Fiona as well. Love you both to pieces. Trust me, it's gone from bad to worse. You know what it reminded me of watching this game? Do you remember the Melbourne Carlton Matthew Cruiser Cup? where you could tell both sides were trying to lose it, but it was a high-scoring game, wasn't it? It was like the inverse of that game. This looked like both teams didn't really want to win it, but they, and it felt like the worst tanking I've ever seen. You know, where Carlton and Melbourne made it an entertaining game, you were happy to pay your ticket prices. This game, you felt like you needed the text before. Don't bother coming, go to the pub. Yeah. We're trying to fuck this up. It was a hard watch. You know what? I watched this game in bed, right? And
I'm so sorry.
Honestly, it's a cure for insomnia. I'll say this, like genuinely. Shout out Danny, who's joined as well. You know what,
Good
Danny?
job, Danny.
I love you, mate. Look, trust me. I'm a man who's used to not getting a text back, mate. I went for university, mate. Don't worry about it. I love you still, though. But no, I agree with you, mate. We can't move them up. But I am excited about talking this team. You know what? Fremantle and Hawks. Fremantle are that team that piss me off the most, because when you tip them, they let you down. When you decide that you've got off them, they're a rubbish team. They do this. And this game here, I think, says everything that worries me about Fremantle. Right, 12 goals, 5. They were like, 9 goals, 1 at one stage. They couldn't miss. Hawthorn, incredibly wasteful. This is my issue with Fremantle. It has to go almost to script to win against a good team. And I felt like Hawthorn, when I watched this game, we watched it live, my initial impression was they were incredibly wasteful. It looked like a lazy performance as well. I felt this said more about Hawthorn's application than it did Fremantle's elite midfield.
Oh, I think that's a beautiful summary. Like, I'm sitting there as you're talking going, I feel like I should move Fremantle up. Like, you look at their list build, you look at what they've done, like to beat Hawthorn, in a tough, wet game. We've got to move them up. And I'm going, well, but today, like, Sydney weren't amazing today. Like, that was a high-pressure game of footy between the Swans and the Saints. That was as tight and a hard-fought contest as you get. Go, okay, I can argue I could put him up, but then, I have zero trust in Fremantle. I think that's the scary thing for me, is it feels like if you can stop that inside midfield from controlling the game, you've got them. If you can tag Sarong out of the game, if you can force Brayshaw into almost having to overlay to come in and to protect that gap of Sarong going into his shell a little bit, without a Hayden Young still there, they just feel that one skinny if Sarong gets absolutely absorbed out of a game. I want to put Fremantle higher, but I don't know how to, because we're talking just a week earlier, they're losing games that I was confident that they should win. And now they're getting over the line against Hawthorn that aren't really firing. So it's, I actually think they'll probably make finals when I look at their fixture, but I'd almost love to play them first week of finals, because you feel like, I'm going to get this team. If I can stop them at the source, I'm away here. It's 1 point of pain and then I can get them. My goodness me. I want to move them up, Pommy, but I don't know if I can. I really want to, but I don't know where.
It's tough, because I call it Fremantle suffer from the Melton complex, I call, and that's Melbourne and Carlton. I feel like people see names and get a little bit excited. They see Mackay, Kerno, Cripps, Walsh, and they're like, wow, this is a good side. Front and centre sorted. I look at Fremantle's side as well, and I'm like, Sarong, Brayshaw, quality. I said it on the watch along. I think Young is one of the most underrated players, along with Jordan Clark, in the league.
Correct.
I don't think they get enough froth of how good they are. But you can see there is massive jigsaw holes. And my question mark with Fremantle is the same as Melbourne, the same as Carlton. When it gets a little bit hard, can you do it? Can you do it? Because no doubt, if it's on your terms, all the talent in the world. And I feel like Fremantle are 9th. Like, I feel like they're here for now, before we talk about Sydney. I feel like that they're better than everyone outside of the 8.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the best non-finals team going around. Is a great way to view them. And they'll beat a bunch of teams in the top 8. But
I'll
are they
say
a finals team?
I feel like the Pies beat them by 40. Like I know that sounds huge. I can just see, I do this show next week and we're like, Fremantle lost by 40. They're absolutely shit. Again, Pies are good.
Pies come back. They all of a sudden, Majacek's back, Lipinski's back, Tagoe's back in. They got a point to prove after only turning up for 35 minutes on the weekend. Yeah, it wouldn't shock me either too.
Yeah, you know what, Jamie? I think I think that is true. I think the issues with Adelaide's Knicks are the same issues I have with JL. That sometimes they're a little bit more defensive than the game calls it to be. And that's why I've liked Adelaide this year, going in for the kill. Feels like they have got that killer instinct. I feel like Fremantle at times are like, oh shit, we're 2 goals up, we've got to cling on, when the momentum's with them and they could go 4, 5, 6 goals ahead. It's almost like they save themselves. And I think that I agree with Jamie. I think there is a little stigma in their head. We don't kill a side though. We don't kill it. We just win. We don't kill them though. And I know Damo's in here, good mate of mine, Dockers, man. Spot on, you've been good. All due respect, out of all the top 9 sides, this sounds horrible. If Carlton played any of the top 9 next week, I'd want to play Fremantle.
You feel confident to get that one? Yeah.
I wouldn't cry. Like the others, I'd be like calling my wife and saying, can you make sure you run a bath for me when I get home?
Pick me up at 3/4 time.
Put the candles on, babe. But Fremantle, I'd be like, oh, maybe get that wine from the fridge out.
I think Fremantle make finals, but I think having them 9th is right. I think there'll be enough games where teams eat each other for those kind of 8-point games that are ultimately that I think Fremantle are going to make it, because there's enough games that come along the way for them based on these last, 6 rounds of the year, that Fremantle are going to make it. But to your point, everything's going to have that. They're GWS light, where it's like everything has to go their way. And if it does, they'll get it done. The gap between those two is GWS will put you away. The Dockers, if they put the Pies away and not just do a Gold Coast where we just get them, but if you can put a team like Collingwood on their backside away from home, awesome. Now we're laughing, because on paper, that list is dynamite. The problem is, on paper, doesn't win finals, doesn't win premierships, doesn't get you into finals.
It's a shame it's not the Origami League, because we might have won a flag if we work out. Tell you, I propose a change. Let's knock this football on the head. Let's fucking just do it paper. Right? Be way more fun.
That's why people do fantasy footy, mate. That's why. Don't have to deal with it.
Do you know what I mean? You see, I agree with Shiny Blue. I thought they were good in patches against Hawthorn, but I'd also say I think some of the shots Hawks missed in vital stages, if they got them, I know it's if onlys, we can't talk about that, but just feels like I'd love to. I've seen Fremantle do that game against another team that's kicked them goals, and then it all come off.
Yeah,
like
sure.
And I thought Hawthorn were bad. Fremantle were just Fremantle. So interesting. I mean, this game's interesting to talk about, because I feel like when I look at this ladder, I feel like we've all got a soft spot for the Roos. And I thought this was a winnable game for the Roos. I looked at it, was like, you've got good history against them already. You've knocked them off. You know the mantra, play on the outside, have a bit of fun. And it reminded me that North remind me of Snapchat filters. They make a 55-year-old divorcee look like a 21-year-old Sydney Sweeney, right? Right? That's what they look like. But when you actually look at it, you are looking at pictures of your aunt, right? No matter how much you trick yourself, right? They were horrible. I hate to say this. North Melbourne, I watched, and I'm looking at that rebuild, and all I saw is a team that has drafted a lot of the same midfielders, playing them at half-back, playing them at half-forward. A lot of players, a lot of talent, no killer instinct. And I hate to say this was probably the first game I've watched for a long time that I watched Harry Sheasel, and I started to believe. I've started to believe in Kane Corns. Felt like Sheasel got a lot of the ball, and he wasn't damaging. It felt like he was going through the motions, and that worries me because it's a talented team on paper. It is. Sean, you've known me for a while now, mate. I'm a confused individual. Do you know what I mean? Confused individual.
I love your chat with a great fondness, more and more every single week. My gosh, my kingdom for some present center of the ball for North Melbourne, and with opportunity year on year on draft. And I don't know, you've had some chats with Dill Alexander about this. I've had plenty with him too about it, where it's just not just at the draft, but then at the trade table with players like a Caleb Daniel. It's like, why would you give up basically the pick that's turned into the future first round pick you've given to Richmond when you kind of follow the thread, when you've got O'Sullivan, McKercher and Sheasel that you're all trying to play in that role. And Caleb's a real one, he's a ripping bloke, but two, if he's kicking the ball more than 35 meters, you're anxious and worried about how it hits the target. So some presence forward of the ball. I know they were missing that a little bit in this game due to who was available, but please draft, trade, do something for someone under the age of 72, not Jack Darling, that will give that for you. You've got the inside worries. I know you don't have Wardlaw and LDU, but this is the game, isn't it? Where you go, let's see what Finn O'Sullivan can really do on the inside for a bit. We know McKercher's more of an accumulator. Let's get him in there, not giving him these easy, cheap stuff off halfback. Same with Sheasel. Let's give this game a go because, my goodness me, there's some things that this team needs that are there and sitting available for them. They've got as much top-end talent now on the books, albeit at the younger end, that a Collingwood do, that a Brisbane do, that an Adelaide do in some kind of raw form. But they've got big chunks and holes in this list build that if they do not correct them in the next 24 months, dare I say it, it's going to be Carlton-esque. Where the stars will carry you for a couple of games and you'll have a big 4 or 5, but there is not that synergy in team play. There is not this buy-in on game style, and there are not the key pieces in your structure that enable that to take place. So, yeah, like there were some bad games this weekend and some poor performances, but that was the most disappointing to me of the whole round because that was the game that got away from them, and politely it should.
You know what as well? I look at Melbourne, and I agree with Sean. They had a chance to show their power against Melbourne. And I look at Melbourne, and it's almost like looking at the same team. And what I mean by this is outside of Petrarca, Oliver, and Gawn, I feel like I've said the same thing about Melbourne since they've won the flag. Forward line doesn't scare me. Backline is meh. I don't think Stephen May and Lever have that command anymore as well. I don't look at them two and go, I feel like you can beat them. I feel like North Melbourne need to look at Melbourne and go, if you don't actively fix your holes and just assume Sheasel's going to turn into Gary Ablett Jr. and McKercher's going to turn into Chris Judd and players like that, you're just going to assume these guys become superstars. I feel like you're in a worry. And General, I love Bailey Fritsch as well, but I just feel like Bailey Fritsch, if you put in Bailey Fritsch now in Adelaide, look at Neil Bullen. Neil Bullen goes to Adelaide with some proper forwards. Look at him. Like, he's no longer the defensive forward. He's an all-rounder. He's dangerous. And I feel like Bailey Fritsch, if I was Bailey Fritsch's agent, I'd be ringing Carlton. I'd be ringing Richmond. I'd be ringing Sydney. I'd be like, look, this guy here can be the guy. He just needs someone to work off. So, yeah, like I feel like Melbourne have got to move up, though. I really do. But I do feel like North, this sounds harsh. My heart of hearts, I have North 17th.
I think based on where they should be in comparison to where they are, that they are 17th. And the scary thing is, I'll get to what I think will happen by the end of the Sunday games, and I think North are at the bottom. And that's more based on what I think West Coast are doing. Like, and we'll get to that game in a second, but
yeah, like, you know what? I think Sean is spot on. I see a bit of GWS happening. Do you remember GWS had so many midfielders that after about 4 years, you knew GWS couldn't fit them all in the midfield. So people started stealing them or trying to poach them.
Jack Steele, Matt Kennedy, all these guys get farmed out.
I feel like the difference is North Melbourne don't have all that talent. So if a Sheasel, let's just say in 2 years' time, someone goes, right, okay, we'll offer you a gun key forward and a first and something else. Sheasel says, nah, I want out. Sheasel says, nah, I want to go and play. Right? Yeah. I feel like, exactly like you say, Sean, I could see a damn wall bursting. And a team I think who are very good at stealing your talent, no one talks about, is Collingwood. I think if I was Collingwood's list manager, I'd be like, if I can pair Sheasel up with Dacos.
Oh my gosh.
I've got Pendlebury and Sidebottom removed. I've got the next generation of these two. Like
100%.
And I think Sheasel would be mental to turn down Collingwood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, unbelievable.
Do we move
the
Melbourne?
Biggest disappointment.
Can we move Melbourne, do you think? And Melbourne above?
We can move them for now. I don't think they're going to be long there because that is like St Kilda lose, but they did what they needed to, and their stars stood up in critical moments. And they're like Harvey Langford, like you've covered the draft a fair bit. Last year, you were one of the big advocates for what he and Lindsay were going to become. My goodness me, that kid in another 40 AFL games is going to be one of the scariest midfield propositions because while he doesn't have speed, his high football IQ, his penetration with his kick, his ability to move and shape in the contest, and then he's just got that raw physicality that he will just shove people away. You know, where Dusty used to push you off balance, I feel like Harvey will put you on your backside. He's just a freak of a kid. Like, my goodness me, this is where I think Melbourne fans have got some great optimism where you go, look, McVeigh's going to be a really nice player if he can hang around. Lindsay's that beautiful mover and accumulator. Cozzy Pickett's now locked in for the long term. Langford's absolute star. And if they choose to move off of the Petrarcas, the Olivers, whatever, and do this rebuild on the run, like a Lever they could just go, you know what? No, we're getting ahead of Tassie coming in. We're getting ahead of Richmond sharking all the talent. We're going now. It wouldn't shock me if they just go, we're hitting the blow up button early because we don't want to get stuck in list purgatory like Essendon have done for the better part of the past few years, where St Kilda, up until the last couple of years, have been stuck in competitive, but not getting elite talent, but not making finals or winning them anyway.
Yeah. I always say Harvey Langford for me in the draft, and I said it at the time, is Harley Reid with shit marketing. That is who he is. Like, you watch him play, Langford, if he was playing as the main man in a midfield, he'd be the same froth that Harley Reid gets. I think the difference between Langford and Reid is Langford, you notice how hard he works defensively. Like, he stands out that he works hard defensively. I think he's a gem of a player. And I was surprised when Melbourne, I like this from you, Mitch. If I was Saints, I think Petrarca is everything that you need.
Agree.
And I think everything that Melbourne need is bringing in that different tall forward and a different style of mid. So I think maybe if I was Sauce, I'd be like, if I can get Tracker over here, it's the name, it's the brand, takes the pressure off Steele. And I feel like Saints could cultivate his ego as well, because any man that goes on TikTok making spaghetti bolognese recipes when he's a footballer has an ego. So you can appeal to that.
Oh, your chat will enjoy that every second of the day.
Hey, look, I love you, Christian, mate. If you do choose Carlton, I love you. But yeah, but Kane, I think he only wants to go to a big club in his mind. I think you just got to convince them they are a big club, and he'd do it. But I mean, let's talk about the Saints. This one was this was not one of the few times I watch a game and was like, I wish I was live. But I made a big call the other day, and I said that I feel like if you were doing a top 5 footballers in the league, Errol Goulden is quietly in there. Quietly in there, and I don't think people give it enough kudos. His final quarter, I felt, won them this game. He is sensational. And I stand by Sydney are going to ruin finals chances because they had no right to win this game, and they did.
St Kilda's pressure was first class. Like, you contrast this game versus the Saturday night game of Richmond and Essendon. I know their lists are in different spaces and injuries and all those kind of things. Like, I've got a mate of mine who's coming over from the States this week, and he's like, MJ, I've got to watch a game of footy, so I figure it out. What should I do? And I'm so glad that I suggested, hey, mate, there's a game on early afternoon. This one's going to be perfect for you in Nashville. It won't be too late. And he watched this. He goes, I can't wait to be at the G next week. I have no idea what happened, but that game was like so intense. And it was. Errol Goulden is the best kick of the football, period. Like, if there is somebody in general play that you want to either get you out of traffic, get you into an attacking mode, set up the play, or create a score involvement, or do something that creates a score involvement along the line, Errol does it, and not just in space. His ability to move his body in not just slow kind of Pendlebury, everybody's in slow motion mode, but his speed and power and precision is unbelievable. He does kind of boomerang kicks around people with just how he moves himself. He's an incredible kick of the football. And when all the focus was on a Nazaya Wanganeen Miller today from a general football landscape, I thought Errol showed how to work through tight opposition, and he's learnt that a little bit. Naz is going to get there without any question in my mind. That was really the first game that a tag has really come to him and made him work really, really hard for his possessions. Errol's getting pretty used to it now, but if Errol's not playing this game, my goodness me, the Saints win by 5 goals, let alone get the win in general. Errol was outstanding when he got limited opportunities for probably this, outside the first and last quarter, he's barely sided.
Saints are really, really fascinating to me because I'm quite hot on them. I feel like Saints have built the perfect base. They have got the nicest cake in the world, and they were playing a team this week who have got the chocolate mud cake from Coles, and they've just put fondant on it and made it look sexy. And it annoys me because I feel like Sydney have got the greatest midfield makeup in the world. You've got Chad Warner, burst player. When he kicks it, he could go anywhere. It might hit the guy in row Z, in a pasty, might go through the post. He might hit a pocket forward. You don't know. But then you've got big Goulden next to him. If he handballs to him, Goulden will hit the target and Chad Warner will get on the end of that kick. Then they've got the nice little mixture in there. I feel like that's what Saints desperately need. I don't think Saints are far away. If Max King ever gets fit and healthy, I think he is a terrific footballer. Add 2 mid. I find Saints so frustrating because I feel like it's so obvious Saints need 2 midfielders that are a little different to the guys you've got. And I think if you put Chad Warner in that midfield or an Errol Goulden in Saints midfield, we're having the conversation we have about Fremantle already. They're the 9th best side at worst. So I don't actually think Saints lost any shame. And I think, Gus, I think you nail it here. I feel like this is what you're lacking. Bit of killer instinct in the forward half of the ground, if you had a proper target. And then just a midfielder that offers something nice. Double dummy, this is the one. It really scares me. How is Butters not linked to this side?
Unbelievably. This is the one that's going to get away from your content creators and media people if they're not too careful. Like, absolutely, it's why you went for Callahan. It's why you're going for these guys. Get on Butters now. Throw the world at him. You're getting TDK for a lot of salary cap, but not much else. Still don't think that's the greatest decision. I think Marshall's fine. Heath showed plenty in this game that he's developing okay at the VFL level. Harry Boyd's a nice little stopgap if you need it that's come over from the Sandful. Just go and get yourself Zach Butters. You've got a great young core. Philippo is going to be a star if he can get his body right. King, we know, has got elite traits, again, if he can get his body right. Darcy Wilson's going to run all day up and down that wing once he keeps just getting the speed of AFL. And then you've got the likes of a Naz Wanganeen Miller are there. Like, the building blocks are there. Go and get Butters. Stuff TDK. Go and get Butters. That is going to actually aid your team's momentum and ability to win and impact games a million times more than going to get, Dodson's another, rather than going to get another ruck when you've already got one in Marshall, who's just a few years older.
You know, my only theory is with Sam Draper heavily tipped to leave, I just feel like Sauce is maybe trying to create a ruck, like, bidding war. And I could see Draper leaving, right? And then suddenly Carlton will need a ruck probably. And I'm glad you've said this, Scryer, because my wife's a massive Saints, so she watches a lot of Sandy. I'm a big Dodson fan. I said to my wife, I would love Dodson, get the top 10 pick for TDK for the comp, and Dodson, use Pitternet for a year, Hudson developing. Dodson could basically be TDK in 2 years' time, 3 years. So I was like, I would actually see that as a lateral win. But I do think, I agree, I think it's a mental amount. But to Gussie's point, at one point, you've got to sign someone, haven't you, Gus? And I do think TDK is getting so much glaze from the football world that might rock the ship. If you suddenly say, ring, ring, hi, Zach, it's me, it's Stephen. Yeah, Tom's signed, mate. Tom's signed. We're the real deal. Max King's going to be fit as a fiddle. You're him. I think then that's probably what they're banking on. But I do think if Rowan leaves, I mean, if TDK comes, I feel like Rowan may get you a pick that is ridiculous. Like, I think people will pay overs because I think Rowan Marshall is an accomplished ruckman. I think teams will pay for him stupidly as well.
Spot on.
So, and you look at this draft, that's probably where the talent isn't. Rucks, right? The two rucks that come to mind, Cooper Duff, Tytler, but he's a top 5 selection, and it's a slow burn. He ain't rucking year one. And then you've got McCarthy, who's landlocked to Collingwood, who is fantastic, and I'm a big fan. Outside of that, they're all projects. You ain't doing it. So it's a tough one, Gus, but I do feel like you're just going to do it. You're going to sneak him. I'm with you, Tony, though. I think it's a lot of money, but unfortunately, it's where football's got. Mate, I'm old. I'm 40. When I see players go for more than 10 million in soccer, I vomit a little bit. When we paid 80 million for Maguire, I vomited a little bit because I was like, a centre-back. You pay $10 and give them a packet of salt and vinegar crisps. Like, nature of the beast. Emmett could be there or thereabouts, but like I say, I don't think there is a ruckman that jumps off the page this year where you're like, oh, yes, exciting talent, 2 to 3 years. I think it's either very early. So I think, could be wrong on this. Someone will overpay for Marshall. And I agree with Double Dummy. I think Marshall on output isn't a loss. I think when you lose TDK, let's just say if Carlton replaced TDK with Marshall plus pick 10, because we'll get the pick after Hawthorn, I'd say we've won. Like I will run round the house naked, live streaming. If you say to me TDK becomes a top 10 pick and Ron Marshall, I'll do streams naked all next year. Biggest rip-off ever. Like
I'm like scared and now cheering it on. I've now got a new thing to support. If the Crom fall off over the next 6 weeks, I know what to do. Join me, friends.
Can I just say that will be clipped, and I will be mighty pissed if the last day of the trade window you suddenly hear, Carlton have just gone in and agreed a deal with Saints for Rowan Marshall, and I'll be like, hate myself that I said that, but. That's where I stand. You know what, widescreen? It does have a Buddy Franklin feel about it as well. That there might be a third party. And, Geelong, all due respect, they don't have a salary cap, do they? Let's be honest. It's it's a myth.
We'll all cotton on eventually.
Hey, well done. But we end with a game that, again, shows a bit of character from Port. This is a classic Port game. But you know what? We've dissed Essendon, we've dissed North. One thing I feel confident about West Coast Eagles is all their acquisitions seem to be working. Baker, I know Graham's out for 4 weeks. But all them players, it feels like they are going into it with a plan. Like, I actually feel comfortable with the Eagles. Like, I look at them and go, okay, this is talent. Pick 1 and 2 if Oscar Allen leaves. Take 1 and 2 to the draft. Bang. You are probably changing this dimension. I've got a sneaky feeling Harley Reid stays. I just feel Harley Reid stays. And I feel like that could be... I feel like they might rise quickly before people know it.
And coaching wise, like, you can see a game style emerging, and that's all you're looking for outside of these green shoots of kids showing their ability. Is you're going, can I see something that is attainable? And I know when I see the coaching emphasis of what's on whiteboards in rooms and what's on computers and what's been setting down in those moments of, hey, player X, when this happens, do that. That's what you're looking for in a rebuild, is players that have bought into a system, into a game style. And when this happens in a game, they know they need to do that. If that happens in a game, we need to do that. And yes, they lost and they fell off the cliff in the last quarter. And credit to Port for putting them to the sword and barely getting an inside 50. But I've watched West Coast over the last month. That first half of football wasn't just because Port Adelaide were poor, and they were underperforming without question. But I could start to see the semblance of this game style coming together. What Baker has been able to do to add some hardness and toughness. I know it's cost him a Jagger Smith, but the contest and the work rate, the defensive side of things, the aggression that has not really been there the last couple of years. Like Elijah Hewitt, if he can keep this body fit, he's powerful and a great foil to a Harley Reid. Shanahan up forward, if you are standing in the leading lane and he's coming forward, you are praying very quickly that the ball goes well over his head, because you don't want to be standing in front of that man crashing into a pack. There are some pieces here, and most importantly to me, bought in, clear, identifiable game style. I'm with you. Like, I don't think the Eagles, from a power rankings perspective, they lost, and they probably had the worst last quarter of everyone in this whole round. They're not the worst team in it, based off what I think is happening and what's going to happen over the next 6 weeks. Dare I say it? They're probably even above Essendon. They're not quite at Richmond, but is it too bold to say that West Coast, maybe we've just been conditioned, they've been so bad for so long that we see a grass shoot that it's like, okay. But I think they go to 16 and push the other couple down. I think the Eagles are heading in the right direction. I'm with you, Pom. Another 18 months and they're there.
You see, I don't mind that call. Sean agrees with you as well in chat. And you know, when you hear people say, I don't want to bag people, but I think it's such an uneducated comment I'm hearing at the minute that this draft is compromised. It's not very deep. And I always refer back to the early draft content I did last year, where I said they were saying the same thing, that there wasn't any superstar talent. And I was saying it's very deep with role players. You look at some of the players that are performing week in, week out from Eagles, they've nailed them later picks. Absolutely. And that's what this draft is. So I think if you've got a couple of stars in your team, this is the draft you target to get them accompanying pieces. Them accompanying pieces. So your non-sexy players that I watched this game, and the ones that stood out to me who were non-sexy pieces, players like Clay Hall, Tom McCarthy. These players weren't superstar draft picks. Job Shanahan's really impressed me as well. These were them later picks or mid-season drafts that really will accompany your top talent. So that's what I think this draft is this year for a lot of sides. And I think Eagles have nailed. They've got the nice mix of sexy stars. They've got their nice mix of real role players. I think you give them 1 and 2 this year, bang. They have got the list. They have got 24 players that will stay together for 7 years minimum. And you can build around that. Like, you can add your pieces. So I'm really excited about where the Eagles go. I agree. I feel like the Eagles, chat, do you agree? Do you feel like the Eagles should, even though they're bottom of the ladder, they keep nipping at the heels of these? I feel like they just need a win. Feels like if they get a win, they'll get 2 wins.
Come on. Don't fail me, chat.
Do you know what I mean? Like, look, Sean, definitely moved to 16. Essendon were not shit this weekend. Hey, don't hold back. don't hold back, Sean.
Sean, get off the ledge, mate.
16th. Ooh. I just feel they're all right, you know? You know what? I do feel like if we were ranking it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Essendon, everyone's dead. So let's disregard their form. Like, I probably start for Essendon. But based on the fact that North Melbourne's team is like 18 first-round picks.
Yeah. And still have structural issues without multiple opportunities to correct it.
I think if you look at their lists, management, a mile ahead. Oh, double dummy. You know what? I'm willing to give Essendon just a little bit of a love. Just a little bit of love.
Just some injury grace. Injury grace. Okay.
Like honestly, like them injuries, like it's funny. Like if they were my team, I'd cry. But it is quite funny that it's like you hear about Martin doing his ACL and then they just drop in 1 to 2 weeks for Ben Hobbs, which didn't.
And Setterfield's off to get surgery.
Like it's going from bad to I would never feel sorry for my rivals, but I feel genuinely bad that one injury pops up along with 3 minor ones that you'd never even thought of. Like Ben Hoggs was kissing and hugging his mum at the end of the game. He looked like the world was brilliant.
It's not great.
It's good, isn't it? Hey, Sean, I love the concept. Do you know what I mean? This is very American TV brought to you in Australia. And we started this, just so everyone knows, in pre-season. We did this for the pre-season games. So I actually think if we've gone game by game, we haven't done too bad with the ladder.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Not if you're a North Melbourne fan, but it's solid.
Yeah, and where's Travis, who got upset last week and said that I bully Brisbane? What?
We've moved them up. We've moved them up. They were first for what? Now, it was the first game, Pommy, but they were first.
He said I was always mean. And I said, look, you get the business done this weekend, buddy, against my team. I might move you up to 1. Like, I might move you. Hey, Travis, if you watch this on repeat, Give Pom some love. Pom was good.
Come on.
Pom was nice. But I like that. I'm looking forward to next week because I feel like that could change even more.
It'll change 100%.
Do you know what I mean? But there you are. But now we come to everyone's favourite game, and this is where audience participation is king. My mate, Ollie Walker-Peel, last week got 10. And I said at the start of the week, you can get 10. And you know what? I made that bold prediction. 2 English guys think the same. So it could be it. Now we've got 2 old dads. And we think the same too. So we could knock him off. This is like, this could be it. I reckon we can get 10.
Don't do that. Don't. Just treat it like the Crows, mate. Let's undersell this. Let's.
Mate, I'm confident, buddy. I am confident.
I will borrow yours.
Hey, look, we're confident. Now, randomly selected this week by Mrs. Pom, and you're going to like this, is people who play ruck. As according to championship data. So think Ruckman. That's what you're going to do. Yep. Hey, double dummy. We had to get less cryptic because, mate, some people were getting 2s double dummy. Do you know what I mean? We're getting 2s. So basically how this game works is a little bit like a game like charades. So I will give you a club. So if, for example, if it was midfielders, I would be like, he plays for Carlton. He's injured at the minute. His first name is a fireman. His surname sounds like it's a place next door to England. You would say Sam Walsh.
Yes. Can we count that as one?
No, because we're doing rucks. Look, you know what? I love the fact, Langy, that, you know what? It was like the Ashes last week. When England win, we had to cheat, didn't we? It couldn't have been Ollie Walker-Peel and me just were in the zone. So we're going to get 10 this
Crawley
week.
with a sore hand at the moment, even though it hit the bat. That's fine.
Hey, mate, you can buy some time. So what I'll do is I will put a countdown timer on the screen. We're thinking rugs. Chat, okay. I want you to help him because, look, I want to fit. We've got 6 weeks, 7 weeks of the season. Let's see if we can get everyone to having. I reckon we can get everyone on that leaderboard double figures, knock some people down, right? Okay. Make sure I do that, right? Okay, cool. So now you should see on your tab a clock.
I'm seeing more ads than timers, but I got you, baby.
Okay, there you are. Right. So chat, Ruckman, Champions data. Are you ready?
No, but let's go.
Let's go. Right. Okay. This guy, he plays for Fremantle, got the name of a famous singer, cost about 8 first-round picks. Fremantle.
Luke Jackson.
Yeah. This guy probably going to get suspended because he punches people. He plays for North Melbourne.
Tristan Cherry.
Best ruckman of all time. Melbourne.
Oh, Max Gawn.
This guy has had more clubs than I wear socks, but returned to form. Sydney Ruckman, a
Brody
philosopher.
Grundy.
Yeah. Carlton's best ruckman who doesn't want to leave us.
Mark Pitnet.
Essendon's best ruckman who will leave them and he's injured.
Oh, Sam Draper.
Yeah. Richmond's only ruckman. He's
Toby Nankervis.
Yeah, this guy, Gold Coast, evidently he's got reverse aging because he's 100 years
Jared
old.
Witts.
This guy's going to be a turncoat and leave us and go to St Kilda.
Tom Taconi.
This guy is the Hawthorn Ruckman. Wait, I've started, so I finished. This guy is the Hawthorn Ruckman. His surname sounds like he's a coward, but he's not. He's an ex-Fremantle player.
Lloyd Meek.
10! Join on the leaderboard. What did I say? I knew we'd get 10. Hey, do you know what I mean? Look, confidence. We are in the zone, chat.
The old men of YouTube unite.
Hey, I told you. The problem I've had is I've just had shit co-hosts, right? Do you know what I mean? That's it. I needed to find either old people or poms, right? So they speak my language. That's where I went wrong.
Okay. Okay. I got you, baby. I got you.
So that's what I got to do. There you are, look. Hey, look, Woody, mate, to be fair, we got halfbacks though, didn't we? And the problem is with halfbacks is there's like 458. So
yeah, I just had to pick 18.
Yeah, so you've got to say. Now, to be fair, I can tell you, according to Champ's data, there is 34 ruckman.
Oh, we're not doing that now, are we? We've not got another 24 to go. Mark, let's go.
There is 34.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? There's 34. So, do you know what I mean? So, I mean, look, the chat are going to recognise you as the leader because evidently Ollie cheated.
I knew I liked you, Sean.
Do you know what I mean? So, if it's count back, we'll just go with birth certificate. So, there we are. But here you are. This is the Supercoach ladder. So, what I am pleased to say is you'll see there that only Damo, my friend, who is a Supercoach connoisseur and a podcast, is the only Supercoach guy that has actually done well at this game. But I'm really pleased to say that Dylan Alexander and the legend that is Lunchtime Podcast, who was incredibly nervous with this game, he is leading here with 846. Now, we are playing for the illustrious PommyInOz Supercoach Challenge ring, right?
Okay.
So there is actually a real prize. This is important. This is important. Like, honestly, this is proper. This is proper. And last week, Team Pommy Rovers scored 621, right? And that was pretty good because Matt Kennedy forgot how to play football. If you remember. He like literally the worst week to pick him. He picked him to wind me up because he's an ex-Carlton man. And that's what you get on this show. You try and piss me off, you get stabbed. But here's Team Coaches panel. We've got a bona fide super coach expert. So take us through your thinking on this, MJ.
All right. So Jordan Clark from Freo in at that number one spot. His last two games, he's going an average of 140 against Collingwood. They're a +10 matchup for halfbacks, and he's already played them once this year and gone a 146. Got a decent history at the venue too. So Jordan Clark, for me, I think he's going to absolutely dominate. The other defender I'm locking in is Lockie Whitfield. He's already got 3 140+ scores. I'm going for ceiling this week, Pommy. I'm not going to just make it to 700. I'm going for glory, my friend. Essendon, not only don't they tag, they can't tag. They just don't have anybody left. Massive favourable matchup there against Essendon. Any other gun defenders that you could probably want to throw in there? I've got some concerns about some other matchups this week. I think Whitfield, we know, has got 180, 190s about him. That might be a little too high, but I'm big and bullish on him. Jumping into the mids, I couldn't do myself dirty. I had to pick Jordan Dawson. He's coming off the back of a 157 last week against the Bulldogs. The Suns are pretty much the easiest matchup for inside mids. And when he played them at that challenging game up at the Gold Coast Suns, he scored a 124 against them. So I'm very, very confident he's going to go well. We've talked about our deep love of Errol Goulden. The last time he played North Melbourne, he scored a 142 against them. North are just gifting points to everyone at the moment. I fully expect Will Phillips to just run after him like I did girls at high school and get nothing. That's exactly how I fully expect it to go for him. So that's where Goulden is there. I've gone Jack Macrae. You know, he was not great this week, but he was fine. But he played Geelong earlier this year and he scored a 162 on them. I think he could do that again. Sinclair and Nazai Wanganeen-Miller get the attention, not Macrae. And then Chad Warner. We talked about how good the matchup is for Errol. Equally as good for Chad, who's forward eligible. He's got a 54 against them earlier this year, which isn't great, but his two prior matchups were 130+. So I'm big and bullish on that. And then Rowan Marshall. I was going to put Nankervis in there, but I'm going to go for Rowan Marshall. The Cats are a super easy ruck matchup. Last time he played them at the start of the year, he went 122. Yeah, Heath is in that game that we saw just over the day, and it might impact some of his percentage of time, but he still hit 100 just earlier today against Brodie Grundy, who's one of the hardest ruck matchups running around. So to get that even with a bit more forward split, I'm pretty happy to do that. So that is my team. I am going for glory, my friend. I'm going for ceiling, and it's going to get nasty or it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch the stream next week and see how it's gone.
Hey, mate, look, they always look good on paper, don't they?
Right.
They always look good on paper.
I'm the Fremantle Dockers of fantasy football. What can I say?
Mate, there's nothing worse than, look, I play a lot of fantasy soccer. So we're playing that at the minute. We're starting to do the planning for one of the leagues that I run. And there is nothing worse than when you write your team down on paper and you're like, there it is.
That's
it. Completed it, mate. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, completed
the Atlantis of football teams. Done.
Do you know what I mean? And then you watch game week 1 and your best player breaks his kneecap and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm rubbish at this game.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, Sean. Look, I rode into battle with you, mate, with that tip last week and I did it. You know what I'm going to do this week as well, chap? We're going to do a special little thing at the end of this show tomorrow morning when I do some editing. I'm going to put the challenge out for you to do this team as well, right? And we will do a little competition between you guys remaining 6 weeks, same rules, and I'll sort out a little Pommy prize for the best member of chat, right? Little Pommy prize, eh? Little Pommy prize. Just don't say I don't give back to this community. I mean, but we do finish with this. And MJ, we are looking for someone to get 9, right? And I've got to give a shout out here that my mate here, lunchtime catch up, if he'd listened to Sean when Sean said it's the easiest tipping week in the world, he went mental and he tried to pick the shock. And as lo and behold, the only week every favourite wins, it happened. It happened. Last week, I can tell you, because the game was on, where are we here? A score of 4 for my English friend. That's not been added onto there, but a score of 4 for Ollie. Ollie said he was rubbish at tipping. He joins Swoop Luke there on 4. Separated by the Asterix teams, as you remember, chat, who were the teams that had to play and tip in the bye because the AFL is a pretend league and we don't have a proper fixture list. But a chance here, MJ. I reckon 9 is the chance. I think 9 is on. I've just got to say here, my advice here is go with your gut. Because I think some people have had 9. They've just tried to overcomplicate. Like Lunchtime Podcast, it was obvious if you just didn't do it. And shout out to chat as well, who found out I'd spelt Clark with an E. I was thinking too much of the famous Cute without the E, Taking Back Sunday. I've been listening to them a bit this weekend. That was my fault. I just had to add the E. Apologies to Jordan if you're watching for me massacring your surname even. Maybe spell it right next time.
That's right. Well, if he doesn't get 140 again, I'll know who to blame. So that's fine. I meant the other Clark. The other Clark. Angus Clark is what I meant. Yeah.
When he deliberately goes onto the bench for the last 20 minutes because he's like that Pommy guy, got my name wrong. I'm not helping his mate out on this, but we get your tips from you here. So we'll start off simple. Essendon at Marvel, Thursday night, GWS. We are live for this game. We will be live streaming this game. Who are you picking for this one?
Oh, the Giants every day of the week. Like, there is no way you can tip Essendon. For multiple reasons, but let's keep it short. Giants. Easy. No, not a chance.
Well, this is probably the tough game here. Hawthorn in Tassie to Port.
Hawthorn. Hawthorn don't lose at Tassie too often. Port don't win away from home against good teams too often. You put those worlds collide.
Well, mate, look, it's simple. It's simple.
Keep it simple. Go with your gut. That was the advice you gave me, Pommy, so I'm going with it.
Mate, go with your gut. SCG, Sydney entertain the Kangaroos who we've bullied. Oh, sure.
Sydney. If I picked North Melbourne from here, what a fraud. Sydney every day.
Oh, do you know what I mean? You are right. It didn't load on my screen. Brisbane versus the Dogs at Gabba.
Yeah, Brisbane.
We are. So we got Giants, Lions, Hawks, Swans. There we are. Okay, now the game we don't want to talk about. Carlton at the G, Melbourne.
Can I just not pick a team? Because I feel like that's the real correct tip: is to no one wins this game. The cashiers win. The car park attendants do. I'll tip Melbourne, but I don't like it. And it's I feel like the only people that win are the people that go, you know what I want to do on a Saturday night is poke my eyes out with frustration and be cold in Melbourne. People that they are the real winners, the sadistic psychopaths that love to watch pain. I think Melbourne. But I feel
Langy, don't do it to you. Langy, don't do it to yourself, bro. Don't do it to yourself, mate. There's always a chance. There is always a chance.
And also, I'm trying to give you something to be positive about. I want to say it. I'm just saying that.
Well, usually I say the real winner is football, but the way both of these sides play football, I don't even think that's the winner.
No, it's your partners when they get to see you instead of spending time watching football. They are the real winners, our partners.
The real winner is all the dads who support Carlton will be doing bedtime stories that night. Real winners. This game here is probably, just quietly, the tie of the round. Eagles at Perth hosting Richmond Tigers.
I think this is the game the Eagles get their reward. I think the Eagles get the win. I think Tigers have looked good, but history would say the Tigers, after a win, aren't always as strong the subsequent week. So I'm going to go the Eagles. I feel like they're due, but it wouldn't shock me if the Tigers get a win. I reckon low-key it's going to be a pretty good contest to watch.
Hey, Sean, I've been thinking about my lock of the week. You know what? I was actually thinking of going bold this week, and I'm going to follow Ache into battle. I was going to give my lock of the week Carlton, just so I can be let down one more time. Do you know what I mean?
Just to have your heart broken.
Do you know what I mean? Just go in on my Blues, go in on them, give them one more backy from me, one more, the last chance. This game here is historically a good game for the Saints, but the Saints go up to GMHBA, face Geelong.
Geelong don't play two bad games in a row.
Yeah, these are the biggest outsiders betting-wise at the minute. They've got the same odds as Essendon at home to GWS.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
which
Geelong
is scary.
That's scary for Geelong fans. You should be scared. But Geelong don't have two bad games in a row. I'm going the Cats.
Look, I'm going to predict, Sean, you'll like this. The two things you're going to hear this week on Footy Abroad on Tuesday, a Swoop who will say something along the lines of, we needed to lose that game to get it off our chest, to reconfigure and run it in. And Jake is going to say, we always match up well against Geelong, though. We always do. There is a chance on this game. And Terry will say, Pommy, can it get any worse? And I'll go, yeah, it can, Terry. So there's my predictions for you to follow along on Tuesday's show. What all them three say to me, and just know I'll giggle when they say them three lines to us all.
Every time.
I'll be like, hold it. Yeah. That's just because I've bullied him. I've bullied him into submission to be humble, so now I bully him for not being humble. It's great mind games. Great mind games. I'm winning that battle. This one, though, is Swoop's Pies. Back at the G, they may be jet-lagged because they didn't realise there was more states in Australia, but they do host Fremantle Dockers.
Lock of the week is Collingwood to win comfortably.
It's going to be an interesting one, this one. It's going to be an interesting one. You know what, Sean? I actually mentioned this on a podcast I filmed this morning on someone else's podcast. And a little known fact is the best percentages in the league are Adelaide and Collingwood. So I was like, people talk about Adelaide kill teams. Percentage-wise, so do Collingwood. I just don't think we notice it so much. We don't notice it as much. But we do finish mighty Crows back at the AO, facing a heroic Gold Coast where all the press has talked about coming of age. They're the real deal. They're the men of the competition. But they get to face Thriller and his two big mates, Tex Walker and Darcy Fogarty. Can they do the unthinkable?
No. I'm calling this the Mac Andrew revenge game. The Crows will have a bee in their bonnet to go. They don't lose at Adelaide Oval very often. Gold Coast don't travel that great. Still, they're getting there, but still not great. I think there's going to be enough that Mac's given them at the end altercation at that famous game. Crows, for me, get the dub.
That's quality, that from you, Laggy. I like dropping that in my Carlton chat. You know, how you've done that, I drop that in my Carlton chat. I go, we match up really well against Melbourne. Cripps does pretty well historically against Oliver. And then I'll go, having said that, Demons by 75. I like to lull my mates in. I like to lull my mates in. But I think they're good tips. Do you know what I mean? Look, it's going to be... I've got a feeling I'm with you as well with your best bet. I genuinely feel like... I have a feeling that the Pies and the Crows send a statement this week to two sides that are maybe getting a little bit of glaze for what they've done. Because I can guarantee tomorrow when I open the papers, Gold Coast beating Collingwood and Fremantle beating Hawthorn is the big news.
Sure.
And Crows will be forgotten about because they only beat the Dogs. So I feel like both sides will send a message. Pies will beat up on Freo. Crows beat up on Gold Coast. And just remind everyone who the real daddies in the competition are. You know what I mean? Well, chat.
I'm with you.
Chat, that is the end of another show. So, I mean, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop in NJ's channel. I want you to go over there. If you do play a little bit of fantasy football, if you're like me, you're not very good at it, but you do like to pretend you know what you're doing or have some help understanding why you picked the guy. And then you can say to your mate, well, actually, he does X, Y, Z here and stuff like that. Head on over to Coach's Panel. But what can they find? If they click that link, what wonderful work are you doing?
Well, every single day we're posting that there's not AFL football year round. On Monday night, we drop an AFL fantasy top 10 trade targets episode. Wednesday night, we do the same for Supercoach. And then Tuesday, I get some of the other boys that are on the panel. We do a bit of a strategy session that helps you kind of navigate the week with the trades you should make, the information, how you could get there, whether you're going for leagues to try to beat your mates, to win back some cash, whatever it is, going for rankings, trying to win yourself some cash, whatever it is overall. We got you covered year round. We're posting content for you. You definitely don't want to miss it. And there's a couple of boys in the panel that are a chance to win it all at the moment too. So we're doing okay. A couple are doing okay.
Hey, that is good to hear. I mean, and also in the preseason, they do get random people on who say bold statements like Sam Walsh is going to take over the Carlton midfield.
To be fair, that was harsh on you. So, yeah, we do something called the 50 most relevant for the first 50 days of a brand new year, which is basically the players I think are the most relevant players to have a conversation about for fantasy footy for the year. And I felt like I was playing to your forehand with Sam Walsh a little bit, but I should have realised that I was playing to a second serve. And I really needed to give you something a little more helpful.
Yeah.
It was literally on that one.
It was literally 48 hours after that as well. And he got
injured, I think. Yeah, that wasn't. You really are the kiss of death, aren't you? Like Manchester United, Carlton. What's your Gridire team as well? Just
Cleveland Browns.
Great, I'll get off that. Do you have a Big Bash team? Just for my benefit?
Yeah, the Stars.
Oh, that explains everything.
Mate, honestly, we said off camera just before we started, I was like, maybe I should use it to my strength and every week start doing like a feature on the opposition's best player, knowing I'll ruin their career.
I'll start the bidding in super chats. Get it. Matt Rowell is the greatest inside midfielder of all time. That's what I'm looking for. The greatest inside midfield.
You know what? I can ruin it for chat. We have 2 videos coming out this week that we've recorded. I've just got a clip together, but one of them is Mitch Giordis is like the best key forward in the league that no one talks about because I think no one knows he kicks goals and he does.
Yep.
And the other guy is Noah Anderson is the most underrated midfielder in the league. And I did think of, you know what? When he has a 55 Supercoach score and turns it over 40 times out of 40.
I will be texting you every second of the day.
I was like, I want Crows fans to get in my DMs and go, thank you, Pommy, for killing his career
Crows fans,
in a video. Because evidently that's what I do, and I don't mean to. I have got a mate as well who's got a kid in the draft. And he has been saying to me, don't you fucking dare do a video on him.
Say nothing. Deny everything.
I play golf with him and he literally keeps saying, don't you dare do my boy.
Oh, mate. Go biblical like Peter denying Jesus 3 times. I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him. That is what you should do.
It's funny. Friend. We were playing golf last week and he was like, please, whatever you do not fucking do a video about my boy after what you've done to the last 2 videos. And I was like, oh, come on, mate. It's not me. Like, it's not me. So he's like, literally, don't. And I was like, okay.
It's not you, but Melbourne Stars, Carlton, United, the Browns. Like, you say it's not you, mate, but...
Yeah, he's genuinely
there's
said...
some commonalities.
He's like, please just don't talk about him. Just do what you want. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what, Sean? The evil part of me does actually want to make him my poster boy for the next 8 weeks.
Make it a thumbnail.
You know, like, build the hype.
Double down. Make it the thumbnail, mate. Really lean in.
Like actually get a picture of him behind me.
Yeah.
Change the channel name to him.
Get rid of the Guernsey. That's it.
But I wouldn't do that to him. I have too much respect for him. I don't want to be the curse. What have we got this week left to do? We've got loads of exciting things. So we've got the Mitchie G video coming up. We've got the Noah Anderson deep dive. We have got a video. It might be out next week though, the week after. But we have got a video which no one's ever done before. But who is your shit hits the fan player? So which one of your players on your list performs the best when the game's going against them? So we've deep dived into any idiot can get 40 touches when you're good. Who's good when you're rubbish? Who's the best player there? We've got some draft content. I owe you the July power rankings. That will be this week. And then loads of live streams and things like that. The live streams will start Thursday. We'll do the Thursday and Friday games. As always, Tuesday, Footy Abroad show. Selection table Wednesday. We'll probably find something else exciting as well. No, we do the Carlton one way. You'll have whoever Carlton's under the shit player is. I think you can guess who that is, though. Should be easy. But thank you very much for joining us, chat. Thank you, MJ, for joining us. Make sure you go and head over and give him some love. We'll see you back next week. Will be Sunday night as well. So Sunday night as well. We'll be back to normal time. We've caught up with the streams. Thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. See you later.